Give Vici, the host, your podcast at this episode today. And then today we've got a guest here. My brother, how are you?
Yeah, grand. How was it?
I'm good, man.
Hola.
May you please tell us brief about yourself?
About myself?
Yeah.
Okay, sitting before you or next to you, my brother, actually, greetings to the viewers and subscribers of a wonderful podcast. My name is Lloyd Marubini Tshiala. I'm a young man who grew up in Soweto. I'm a vendor, by the way. I don't have much to say about myself, but I'm a member of the EFF and a supporter. I'm a student at the University of Limpopo. I'm studying Bachelor's of Law, and I'm about to finish with the degree.
You're about to finish?
Yes.
So, but can you tell us about your background at home, the primary, the high school? How was the environment at home and the conditions at home?
No, all right. As I've alluded, I'm one person who grew up in Gauteng, in Soweto, in one small township called Tshiala. When I grew up when I never stayed with my parents. I was staying with my grandma and my mother's siblings. So growing up was not really a bad situation. I was just a normal child like any other in a township in South Africa. So from primary, challenges are just challenges which every child came across. Bullying, I had to stand up for myself and everything. I never really had problems academically. Then in terms of what, poverty is poverty for every South African kid. So I'm part of them.
Then what inspired you to pursue LLB?
What inspired me really, it's a broad situation, but then from the books that I used to read, because I used to be a reader. Yeah, because I love politics and everything.
Sure.
I then realized that our people in South Africa, when I say our people, I'm speaking for black Africans or black people in particular. The law was used to marginalize our people. If you can remember very well, colonization and apartheid, it was the law and it was legal. Therefore, I realized that me being part of the profession, it will also assist to eradicate the oppression which is still available in today's life, which our people are still being being faced by. So I also want to form part in giving law and justice in our country. But there's a lot I can explain.
You can tell us as long as you wish.
Okay, another thing, if you can check, the constitution of our country is regarded as being one of the best or the best constitution in the whole world. But then in reality, the constitution is not doing what it says in paper. So I feel like if you are part of the profession, at least in a legal manner, you can be able to challenge some of the sections, legislature and whatsoever through legal channels, not in another way. So me being in the profession, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the crime rate in South Africa, justice is not being served. So I believe that us as the new age legal practitioners will be able to change the situation. It won't be easy, but we will try to spark something.
Yeah, speaking of Constitution of the Republic, on the preambles, they speaks about social injustices of the past. They want to fix the injustices of the past, social and other things, but they don't speak about economy.
All right.
Yeah, so that means the economy, they are not interested in fixing the injustices of economy.
Yes.
So what is your perspective around that? Because it's not even touched on the preambles of the Constitution.
Facts. You know, my brother, hence I try to explain to you that it's a lot, these things are a lot that our people are still being faced with.
Sure.
The Constitution, in my own perspective, it's not really the best. Yes, it's the best in media, it's the best to those who are still oppressing our people and who have been oppressing our people. My brother, you touch on a very important issue, the economy. The so-called liberation movement, which is the African National Congress, they had a plan of what? Of fighting for our freedoms. That is why you and I today are sitting here freely so. But they never had a plan of what? Of the economic freedom in our lifetime. You get my point?
Sure.
Therefore, the constitution or the freedom that we are having, it was just negotiated. Look how other African countries are. Freedom was fought by a barrel of a gun. But in our situation in South Africa, it was a different situation. So our constitution in terms of economy doesn't cater for us. We are still poor even today. A black person still stays in a shack. Our villages don't have water. Our villages don't have proper tar roads. Our schools don't have windows. Even in universities that we are in, they're still called previously disadvantaged. Even today, they're disadvantaged universities.
After 30 years
after 30 years of democracy. You get my point? So in terms of economy, we need a government which is gonna try to change the constitution, amend certain sections in the constitution which will cater for the black people in South Africa. I don't know. There's section. I don't know. It's section 25 of the constitution, which speaks about the land issue.
It's the property.
The property, right? Currently, the constitution says expropriation of land with compensation. EFF and other black political parties says without compensation. My brother, if you can remember very well, land is wealth. Land is wealth. So if our people will be the government, can take back the land and distribute it equally to the people whom are going to work the land and make money for the government. Not really for the government, but the government becomes the custodian. It provides to everyone. In terms of economy, our people are going to be better because wealth is from the land, and the land is being owned by what? Minority, which are white. Majority, which are black people. We don't have anything. That's where the economy lies.
Thank you very much. So are you, because I hear that you are saying you are a vendor, but you grew up in Soweto. Then are you really centered into our culture or our traditions or our customs? Are you a fan of such?
Okay.
I want to understand before I ask you a question. Are you following? Are you still practicing the customs of vendor?
100%.
100%.
Or more than.
Yes. Then what about the Lobola? What is your take in Lobola?
Okay, the Lobola issue. I've had a lot of debates where people speak that or say that Lobola is no longer important. My brother, we must understand where these things comes from, and we must understand where we come from. The Lobola issue, in my own perspective or view, I still support it. Even if I'm not going to get married, but those who are going to get married, I encourage them to still practice those things. They go back a long way. In my tradition, what I've been told is that Lobola is not just you paying money to buy a girl or a woman that you love. When we are doing those things, we are trying to connect the ancestors so that they can bless our union or our marriage. You get my point? So I feel like Lobola is something that it has to still be practiced going forward. During apartheid, there was a legislature which was called the Witchcraft Act, something like that, in the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. That act, the apartheid government made it that black people should be afraid to practice their own culture and tradition. So now, hence I mentioned that apartheid was law. So they bring the law. Let's say now your grandma is a sangoma, and those things are a gift. With that law, you can't be able to practice your things freely. So it's like even with these things of Lobola and everything. Some of our clever blacks, they believe that those things are not necessary. If you and the person love each other, you must just take each other, go to home affairs, sign, everything goes well.
No.
But in our tradition, that's not how it happens.
No.
Ancestors must bless that.
So, but I hear that you really follow the culture. Then what about these couples that go to date and then they still want to spill or divide the bill
Okay.
when it's time to pay?
Before I can answer your question, I would want you to clarify here. When you speak of couples, can you speak of age group or what?
No, marriage or a relationship or whatever you can call it.
Okay, I will start by giving, I'll have two factors. Firstly, I'll speak of a relationship of someone who's in a township.
Yeah.
It's not a student, it's a hustler. It's not really getting much of money, but he's a guy, he has to date. One thing I can tell you is that the issue of splitting the bill, it's an agreement between me and my person.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's an issue, because if we get into an agreement, I tell you, baby, I'm having 500 rand,
Yeah.
but I wish we can go to Uhuru, for example.
Sure.
But 500 rand to go to Uhuru won't be enough. If you are having something, can you please assist? If she agrees, then we do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem. 50-50, actually, it's something which is a good thing. For people who are not yet economically or financially emancipated.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Sure.
So even in marriages, in our cultures or everything, a man is a provider.
Sure.
A woman is a caretaker.
Yeah.
That's also 50-50.
Sure.
It's just that it used to happen in a different way.
Yeah.
Today, women are also working. They can be providers. Men can also be caretakers.
Sure.
So 50-50 is not a problem.
Yeah.
Let's not be robbed by so-called slave queens and everything. I call them people who are lazy to think or people who are lazy to work. My brother.
I hope they are not going to attack you.
Not really. It's not really an attack to them, but what they do is wrong, because now young kids, our sisters and so forth, they have to grow up and have that mindset of saying a man must provide for everything. A woman must just sit and do what? I don't want to insult my sisters, but then do what?
Yeah.
If you have an agreement with the person, I think there's no problem with splitting the bill. For as long as you agree. Not, I once watched the Skim Sam long time ago when, I don't know, what did Lishaw. The mistake he made, he never told the lady before. He just took the lady out on a lunch or dinner. When it's time to pay, now he's paying for his own meal. That was wrong of him. But if at first he told her, no, I can afford this and this. There's McDonald's and everything. But it's just a story. They had to give us something, but in reality it's happening. You speak to your person, we agree. Life goes on. I'm even doing it today. Proudly so. With the person.
You are not ashamed.
No, I'm not.
Then what about your perspective on polygamy? Since you are saying you are following on the culture and other things.
I'm going to fight with a lot of people. But again, tradition. Before I answer the question, my brother, colonization and apartheid took a lot from our people.
Sure.
Took a lot from us as human beings, as black people. At least there's still few things that are left that we can hold on to, so that the future generation can be able to know where they come from. Now we can't erase everything of our own as black people. What are those people who are going to be born in future generation, in 20, 50 years to come, going to narrate about their ancestors and everything? They're going to speak of the Western world things. So in terms of polygamy, if tradition agrees and allows, I still support it. I'm not saying I can do it because ladies are expensive. So it requires you to have financial muscles. I can believe, because you can't just take someone's child to poverty. I don't think it's fair. But if you take someone, you bring back at home, and you are able to provide in whatsoever way, then polygamy is not a problem.
It's not a problem, because in recent years, I'm not sure if whether it's 2 years or 3 years back, there was they were pushing, there was this, I don't know if it's monogamy or what, that is opposite to polygamy, where it allows a lady is to date more than one.
Okay.
So are you saying is the same? Whatever that you allow from right hand side, you can still allow it on the left hand side. Are you that person?
You know, Section 9 of the Constitution of South Africa speaks of equality, right?
Yes.
In most cases, our law undermines the Roman Dutch law and English law undermines the customary law in most cases. My brother, in customary, whether Venda, Tonga, Sutu, Pedi, Zulu, and whatsoever, we've never had a woman getting married or marrying. We no longer know if she's marrying or she's getting married.
Sure.
More than two husbands, or one actually. So why should we bring things into our own cultures which we never practiced? When we speak of tradition, I'm not saying our tradition was perfect, was right, it have everything perfect and everything. I'm saying at least can the law try to eradicate those bad things, those unhuman practices in traditions. But it must never take the right ones. So we can't agree that a woman must have two husbands.
But I get that saying customary law, it's a living law. It changes
with time.
With time.
Yes.
So what if they want to start to practice that so that it can be a custom to our generation as well?
I will answer your question with a question. Do you think in deep rural areas where custom and tradition is still being practiced, they can agree to that?
No, it will be a taboo practice, to be honest. But I'm saying, since you speaks about Chapter 9 of the Constitution, then what are you saying?
When the Constitution was being drafted and negotiated, actually, in the 90s, late 90s, 95, 96, 93 there, you must remember that the Constitution was just a negotiation on top of a table, whereby the then white oppressors had their own demands. They wanted to exist within our society as black people of South Africa. So they had to include certain sections, certain clauses, I mean to say, which will favor them, which will also make their tradition to grow within our tradition. Making that at that point, as black people, we thought maybe we have won the war, everything is well. But 30 years later, we see that we never did anything. So all I'm trying to say is that they planted a seed, knowing very well that it will grow at some point. And these are the taboos that are happening today. We thought we have buried the seed. Can't you know? It's growing today.
It's growing. Ne?
Yes.
I hear you. So now, you said you are seeing someone. Ne? So now I want to be personal. I want to be personal.
Sure.
Just tell me what is your preference. Would you prefer someone, a girl who can say, my brother Lloyd or my boyfriend Lloyd, I want to date two guys, or I'm dating two guys, or you want her to do underground things?
That's a very difficult.
Because it's happening. It doesn't matter if whether we want to overlook this issue.
Sure.
But it's happening. Someone in relationship now is suffering from that pandemic.
My brother, you know, with what you just mentioned, we can say it out loud in public and whatsoever. It's like, I'll give you an example. Let's say now someone is cheating. We all know that cheating is wrong. But it's very hard to go to your person and tell the person, or no, I no longer feel you in this kind of a way or whatsoever. But honestly speaking, most of or majority of the people in relationships, we fight for the truth. The truth in what way? When my woman has seen someone who's now better than me, or whoever that she wants to date over me, we ask for the person to at least come back to us, tell us, or my brother, I can no longer do this. It's painful, very, very painful. I can just say it here, but if that thing happens in reality, you will see me losing weight. Or this man is very in a very difficult situation. So, but honestly speaking, I feel like telling the truth, explaining to me or no, my brother, this thing can no longer work. I can be able to make peace and find a closure. Other than finding my woman has been dating Vichy for almost 6 months.
Sure.
I'm celebrating an anniversary, meaning the 6 months of Vichy and 6 months of myself.
Sure.
So that one is going to be very, very much painful. But if she can be honest with me and say, no, I've seen Vichy and I want to be with Vichy, it will be painful. I will even want to fight Vichy, but at the end of the day, as a law-abiding citizen, I don't owe her and she doesn't owe me anything.
Sure.
I'll rather accept that she tells me the truth. We move on.
So what is your perspective on girlfriend allowance? Because people are saying girlfriend allowance, it's compulsory. There is no way. That is what they say.
Yeah, you know, when we speak here, we're going to be regarded as stingy men.
Let them label us. They already did that.
We're going to be regarded as stingy men. Okay. Girlfriend allowance.
Yeah.
Those who brought that term or concept, I so wish one day they can explain it to me, thorough or broadly. Or what is girlfriend allowance?
Sure.
What am I supposed to pay for while I'm in a relationship? Let's speak now, a university student or college student, they get allowance because they're going to school. And there's a reason why these people are getting paid. There's allowance for living allowance for transport and accommodation. We know what's the reason for that, and it's working for that reason. Now let's go back to relationships now. We love each other. Your feelings are the same feelings that I'm feeling as a woman. Why now should I pay you for loving me? I'll even speak, I don't know if it's explicit or what, intercourse, sexual intercourse. When we have sexual intercourse, you feel the very same nice things that I'm feeling. Why should I pay for doing that? Yes, there are people who are doing the other businesses, prostitution and everything. That one we can't dwell much on it. But in a relationship, we love each other. Meaning, in that girlfriend allowance, I'm giving you girlfriend allowance. I must also take you out. I must also pay for other things. What about myself? What about my mental and financial well-being? I'm not saying we shouldn't give our women something, but I must not be obliged to pay you for loving me.
It's not a force.
I don't support that thing.
So fine, let's move. What constitutes gender-based violence according to your understanding and your experience? Now you're touching on. You see, I'm wearing a jersey which is written anti. Anti-gender-based violence.
I don't know if it will be visible.
I can see.
So,
you are an activist.
I'm an activist. Here in the institution, here in the University of Limpopo, I'm leading a structure called Men Association Against Violence. There are a lot of reasons which constitute that thing, and we've seen because on a daily basis we're attending to cases of such issues. Okay, I'll try to answer your question through the structure. At first, when the structure was launched, it was launched in terms of trying to break the silence that males or men are heavy, because there are a lot of men that are being abused, but they don't break out. There are a lot of men which are being banned in their rooms, which are being insulted, which are being doing all those things, but they don't speak out. They are afraid. So Tina bringing the structure, we had that thing of saying, now we want to have males to come speak to us. Your issues will be confidential. No one will know anything. We assist you in terms of what? The laws of the university and of the republic. To answer your question now, we realize that even with our structure, we are attending to more cases of females coming to us seeking for assistance more than males. So, there are a lot of factors. I'll speak of issues like childhood traumas. As someone who grew up in townships, who never went to Model C schools and everything, I never first believed in those things. But now being in university changed my narrative. Those things, they are there and they are happening and they are true. Childhood traumas, they destroy people. And they make people to do certain things to other people. For example, you find a man used to be abused very badly at home. very badly at the early ages.
Sure.
That person now is in a relationship with someone. You now want to take out your anger to your girlfriend, someone who doesn't even know what happened, where did everything started and everything. Just a simple mistake, you do all those things. Even with females. I'm not really, gender-based violence, it doesn't cover females only. It covers everyone. So even with females, there are females who are having those traumas. They don't want to speak out. You know, I so wish that before people can get into relationships, we should start by speaking, being honest with each other, take out what is inside. I know it won't be easy, our first 2 weeks of dating and whatsoever, but in the long run, we should try to speak to our people. What used to bother us, what bothers us, what makes us angry. Try to balance our anger, but anger management. You get my point? Another thing, our sisters, I'm not really saying it's good to be killed, it's wrong. I'm an activist who's against those things. And if you're my friend, you do that thing, I turn my back against you. Our sisters, I've seen a lot. You know, we go out, we drink, we do all of these things. When now you drink someone, I don't know whatever agreement. I've never done those things. But I've been seeing them, and I have female friends who tell me those things. You drink someone, that person is having their own mind after buying you istropas. It's expensive, that thing.
Too much.
Now we're not financially stable. It's expensive. Someone buys you 12 at the end of the party or anything. You are now turning your back against that person. You ate his man. He wants something in return. Why can't our ladies, if you don't have money, don't go to a beer hall, don't go to a lifestyle, don't go to a lodge. It's another issue which is promoting these things of gender-based violence, because that man now has anger. So I'm taking you by force. I'm going to molest you. I'm going to do all those kind of things. So I'm saying our people must draw the line. Let's draw the line. Females, let's draw the line. If you don't have, accept. Relax. Munata will fail. Our male brothers, I feel like we should establish more of men conferences where we tell each other the truth. My brother, beating a woman, there's nothing nice about beating a woman. The minute you lay a hand to a woman, you are no longer a man. You are no longer a human being.
You are weak.
Very weak. Very weak, my brother. So I'm saying gender-based violence, we are against it and will never support it in any way. Whether it's a man or a female doing it, we will treat you the same way. You're an animal. So what constitutes mostly it's childhood traumas. Childhood traumas, I don't want to lie. I've seen, and I was once a victim, but I won't say much, but I know those kind of things, they're happening.
Because I know sometimes when you grow up seeing your parents beating one another, you think that is a normal life.
It's a nice thing.
It's a nice thing. That means you are a man and what.
But they must murmur me.
So
I
that
must also do it. It's not nice, that thing.
The childhood trauma, it's a problem.
It's a problem in any way. Either you were abused, either you were seeing those things, whatever trauma that might have you might have faced back in the days. It's one of the based violence. And also loving other people's things. It's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's causing trouble.
It's causing trouble because you are taking. Okay, there's also a topic. Let's say now you are a man. You are working in construction. You have a girlfriend, or you are working anywhere. You never went to school. You take her to school. She goes study law or study medicine, nursing or whatever. After graduating, she tells you now that you are no longer my type. You've been supporting her financially, mentally, and everything for so long. For her to, you find out she never had funding or anything. You were the one working.
Very hard to assist her.
You spend more than, you know, you are a student. And you've been a student. You know how much fees are. You know. So that person tells you, no, I met my type who's a doctor too. When I are just a bricklayer. What happens to those men? Yes, as an activist, we tell them, my brother, accept, move on, don't kill her, don't do all those things. But to our female sisters, why don't you stop him injecting money, knowing very well
from that time,
no, my brother, I can no longer do, I'll see myself.
Sure.
That's why now we have many cases of females being killed. And we don't support that, and rest in peace to those that died through those things. And let justice be served, and let those men rot in jail. But our brothers are suffering things that they never did.
Yeah, sure. So tell me, have you ever experienced a rape false accusation, or have you ever been associated with someone who was accused falsely before?
Okay.
Or are you not dealing with such cases in your organization?
Well, we're dealing with them. We're dealing with them. And recently we've been attending a case of such. But personally, from in my own personal space, I've never been found in that kind of, find myself in that kind of situation. But I have close associates whom have been found in this kind of situation.
Sure.
I don't know. What was the question?
My question was about the false rapes.
Okay.
So, have you ever experienced it, or one of your associates has ever been accused of false rape, or recently what was happening in Skimsami?
Sure.
The non-consensual and consent. So they were saying lots of things.
As I was saying, in my own personal space, I've never found myself, because I don't want to lie. When I'm with a lady, and we're about to do, and she says no, it falls. It falls. It no longer stands up. It falls. And it doesn't make me a weak man. I rather sleep.
Yeah, sure.
I won't put.
You won't put.
So, with the brothers and whatsoever, there was a brother who was once in that kind of a situation. It seriously destroyed that man.
Sure.
Because my brother, rape on its own, being accused or right or wrong, that thing takes out your dignity as a human being. You no longer walks with the shadow. It's dignity, but it takes you are a monster in the society. So that person even nearly tried to commit suicide because he was rejected everywhere. In whatever activities he's doing, females don't feel free. Even certain males don't feel free. At first we don't know. You are a brother, there's a situation is happening. My brother didn't do it, but now there's pressure which is coming
from the public.
This person did it.
And then some majority of men that are in high halls saving. Yes.
My man, when you speak of that one, it's very painful, because you are right. Not all people who are inside there, whatever prison that we can think of, it's true.
It's true.
Some were framed. Some who are in politics, it was just scoring political scores. There's a guy, I don't think it's fine to name names, but who was a comrade, a very close comrade, but he was older than me. I used to get some and get some advices. He once told me that they were going to a conference. Then there was a lady who was plotted, who was the plot actually. That lady was given a mandate that this person is not supposed to go contest in few weeks to come. When that guy comes, give him board. In the morning,
you go and open a case.
You go open a case. Luckily, when that situation was happening, the plotting, there was someone who was recording. Then, when that thing came out, the person was not agreeing. We rather do other channels, but not this one of rape.
It's too much.
Not this one of rape. So he was trying to explain, how did that thing destroy the man? It destroyed him to a point where he even hates a female. And he is not even a gay person or anything. He just hates a female. He doesn't even want to associate himself with females, because he feels like if he puts, he's gonna find himself in this kind of a situation.
So I hear you. Then what is your what should I talk about? A societal problem. We are having this issue in our society where we are having absent fathers. Absent fathers. People who did those deeds, and then after that they are no longer available to be the real fathers.
Okay, in my own personal space, I won't really relate because I grew up with a father and a mother in the same household. But I have friends, I have brothers, I have cousins who don't know the father figure in their life. Yeah, I don't want to lie. The things that, let's say, my father did for me, if he was not there, I don't know if I would find myself here or anything. So, honestly speaking, my brother, absent fathers destroys their children. But now, I want to touch on the issue of what really transpired before the person can leave. There are a lot of factors. Just that now, you find yourself already. You make a woman pregnant, she gets pregnant. You are not ready to be a father. When you are not ready to be a father, you propose abortion. She tells you that no, it's my body, it's my choice. You are not ready to it.
You are not ready. You see that if that soul comes,
financially, I can't afford this person. The woman says no, I'm keeping the baby. The society says no, the man must be forced to support the child, to be in the child's life. But let the woman be pregnant and so I'm not ready. I'm going to do abortion. She's going to do abortion. Simple.
Without your consent.
When you want that child to be your child, it won't happen. She's aborting that child. So when I speak of factors, I'm saying at least just that you can explain that to your child, because your child would have had a lot of stories about you. Your father ran away, he's a deadbeat and whatsoever. But if we can say, let the father sit down with the child and the child is ready to listen and hear what was the reason he left. I'll make an example. I don't really know what transpired. There's this guy called, he used to act in Hizo Hizo. His child is Doja Cat, an American a celebrity. But Dumsan Klamin, he used to act as Parkima in Hizo Hizo, Parkima Chester. That guy, he's the father of one of the richest celebrities, Doja Cat. She's in America. We don't know what transpired there. The guy is in South Africa. The mother was in America. The child is born that side. Do we say that man ran away?
We can't say that.
We don't know if he made the child while he was in America. Even though he made the child while he was in America, he's a resident of South Africa. Why didn't the woman come back? We never even had the stories that the woman came back.
So the mother is the South African citizen?
No, I think she's American. She's an American.
No, I think the issue of finances, it was a factor here. That is my view.
You see? I feel like this thing, it goes in a case on case basis. We can't all say all absent fathers, we put them under the same umbrella. I don't think so. I don't really know the facts in that story, but if I can analyze the situation, that maybe that man in the 90s, he was very, very popular. So I feel like he used to go that side and everything. Let's say he goes that side, find a woman, fine and everything. He's forced to come back to South Africa. The woman stays that side, gives birth. There's no longer communication between the two. The child grows up without the father figure. The society says he ran away. He ran away from what? It goes on a case-on-case basis, man. But honestly speaking, absent fathers, or this concept of absent fathers, it destroys a child. It's just that it's not easy to explain to a child what really transpired, because automatically we take the side of our mothers. You get my point? You can't. You even look at that man as a monster or an hour. It's not man enough. But if you can, let's say, it's not easy. I've never been in that situation. But I feel like when I'm a qualified legal practitioner, I can try to mediate between an absent father and a child and say, let's have facts here. Hear both sides of the story. She goes and abort. It's fine in the law. Even running away as a father, it's not fine, man. It's not fine. It's not. We call it running away, but it's not running away. There are factors there, my brother. So I say this thing goes on a case-on-case basis. We can't all put them under the same roof. We must understand the facts before that thing happens. It's just this word. It's destroying. But honestly speaking, that thing is wrong. I don't agree with it.
So now tell us, what is your love language? Your love language.
You know, I watch a lot of those things. these videos, you hear someone being asked, what is your love language? I say Venda or Zulu. But I think when we speak of love language, we speak of what are the qualities or the factors that a woman can have. I don't know if it's the right way, can have, so that we can find ourselves aligning.
Sure.
But mina, my love language, I can say it's communication properly, respect, finance. She must also have financial muscles.
The lady?
Yes, because I'm also coming with my own finances. The small things that I'm having. Because I'm still young to have a burden. To play roles of a father to someone, I can't.
That next time she will reject you.
If she's financially fine,
you are fine.
That's a love language. She respects. I'm not saying she must. What you call? There's a word called. I'm forgetting. I'll think of it.
Okay,
there's a word. It describes the situation where a lady. She's submissive. I want the word submissive. I'm not saying I want a submissive financial. I'm saying we must respect each other, because I also have financial injection. I put, but a woman which is respect, where nice communication, and who has finance, man. That's my love language.
Man,
yes.
Sure. So now let's delve into politics. So there was talks recently about national unity.
Okay.
The ANC is pushing national unity, but the factions within the ANC, they are saying they must go into a left politics coalition with MK and EFF.
Sure.
So what is your thought on that?
I'll give you two sides of the story.
Sure.
You know, when I was listening, when Cupcake was addressing that day, in his perspective or in his shoes, he was trying to speak, hey, comrades, don't hate me. I'm trying to analyze the situation.
Sure.
He was with his own NEC, but I'll use him as the cover of the face. Yes.
Sure.
When he came and addressed us, he was trying to save the ANC and his factions in terms of what? He doesn't want to choose one side over the other. One side how? There are stories of saying Ramaphosa is someone, is a stooge, is a person of the Ruperts, Oppenheimers and everything. So he didn't want to leave the whites who are his friends and join forces with his black brother.
Sure.
So he, with that government of national unity, he's trying to say, no, Mina, I'm someone who loves everyone. Come we work together.
Sure.
But now let's speak of factions which are saying, no, it's now time. The government is no longer having a certain political party which is in majority.
Sure.
All of us, we can work together.
Sure.
When you speak of the MK and the EFF, I'll speak particularly about the EFF because I don't know documents of the MK.
Sure.
But I love the fact that they speak of expropriation of land without compensation.
Sure.
The EFF says, it is now time. I feel like if we can join forces, economically, our black people are going to be fine because our organizations fight for what? They were fighting for black people. Actually, EFF fights for black people. Yes, it's not a racial-based political party, but its main purpose is to save marginalized people, and it's black people. You get my point? The ANC has shifted to the far right now. It has adopted the policies of what the National Party back in the days and everything. Now, with this government of national unity, in my position, I don't really agree with it, honestly speaking, because this was the time where I feel like we were going to find economic emancipation as black people of South Africa. Because now, imagine, it's EFF, it's MK, it's ANC, and they were speaking of the radical ANC, not this one of today. Having and others, these three political parties, we say now we start with going to amend the constitution.
Section 25.
In terms of the land. The state is the custodian of the land. Meaning now we're able to shift away. Pella now, these people, these oppressors, these Oppenheimers and everything, they're the ones who are owning majority of mines, majority of farms, and all those kind of things. So my view in the government of national unity, I don't support that thing.
Sure.
I was going to be happy and rejoice if the NEC of ANC decided to say, now let's take the MK of Comrade His Excellency Jacob Zuma, sure, and the EFF of our CIC, Julius Malema. Let's work together. And others, those who are fighting for black people in South Africa.
And then you know what is funny about this thing? The resolution of 2017 conference of the ANC,
CR17,
they spoke about national land expropriation, nationalizations of banks. But now, that means MK and the EFF and the ANC, they are not too far from each other. They can have an agreement easily.
They have one common goal, those people. It's just that, you know, in politics, there's ego and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like if Jacob Zuma came and joined forces with the EFF and everything, but it's no longer a factor now, that issue. He could have simply made that thing to be, what do you call it? He could have simply gained more momentum.
Sure.
You get my point?
Sure.
So, with what you're saying in terms of CR17, and now I'll start by touching it back in the days when Julius Malema were in the Youth League.
Sure.
Those were the comrades who were speaking about what? Nationalization. They call it the N-word.
Sure.
Nationalization of banks.
Sure.
And nationalization mines, all strategic sectors of the economy.
Sure.
What happened to them?
Chopped.
They were chopped.
Yeah.
Left with nothing. So I feel like if now this ANC of today never shifted away, we could be better people in South Africa. But the problem is what? They are captured. And there's nothing we can do, I believe. And we can't say we'll take arms and go fight. It's no longer the time.
It's no longer
the law must take precedence.
Sure.
We don't fight with guns and everything. Criminal activities, no, we don't support.
So now in recent days, they were speaking about, they were trying to decampaign the EFF on the issue of unity of Africa. So what is your thought? Is it feasible to unite the Africa now? It's doable or it's still early? What do you think?
You know that concept, the concept of, I call it the concept of illegal immigrants.
Sure.
At some point, it has many names, but it's called African unity.
Sure.
Yes, you are right. We need African unity.
Sure.
We seriously need African unity because if Zimbabwe is fine, and the people are okay, those people won't see any need to come to South Africa.
Sure.
And we have that saying of saying they're taking our jobs. I don't think so.
Sure.
But with Zimbabwe still suffering, they're going to flood our bridge border.
It doesn't matter if whether you have a secured border or whatnot.
They will find ways of entering.
Sure.
And by the way, those people have been entering, even through the government of the ANC.
Prior 2013, inception of the EFF.
They've been entering. So we can't say it's the EFF which is saying illegal immigrants must enter South Africa. But as a law-abiding citizen and everything, Mina, I say, those who are illegal, they must get papers.
Sure.
At least have papers. But without papers, I don't really support it. My comrades of the EFF might fight me or anything, but I'm a law-abiding citizen and I follow the constitution and its laws of the country. But without papers, go back, get papers, come back. It becomes better. You know, it becomes better in terms of what? If you commit crime, you can be able to be traced. But now,
so before you go further, are you not saying we must naturalize them to be the South African citizens so that they can have maybe different ID numbers? Maybe it starts with ZIM and then the number, so we know this one is from Zimbabwe, but we can be able to trace him in South Africa.
When I speak of papers, I don't think for now South Africa is able to carry the burden of all African countries. We're not saying they're a burden. South Africa is their home.
Sure.
But now I want to speak on the issue. Let's say a few months back, Zimbabwe had elections.
Sure.
I will ask a question. How many did they go back and vote at home? Because we believe that ballot is the one which is going to save us. this year in South Africa, just few days back, we saved our people by going to the ballot, by removing the ANC. I feel like if these people, they can also assist us in fighting, because we can't only fight alone. You get my point? And I'm saying I don't really want to fight with my EFF policies and everything, but I do support the African unity. Oh, Gaddafi, they tried it. They were killed. In 1960, in the 1960s, if not the late 50s, there was a conference which was called the Monrovia Conference. It was between, you must go read about it. It was between a group called the Casablanca and the Monrovia group. The Casablanca group, I think it was in the west of Africa, the Monrovia in the east. This group, I think, is the Casablanca. There were few. They were saying, comrades, it is now time, because majority of us, mind you, it's during 1960s, 1950s, majority of us, we are having independence in our countries. Don't you think now it's time we go assist our brothers in the south? Because South Africa, there was no freedom yet. In the south, in wherever, there's no freedom. In that conference, those of the Monrovia or Casablanca, they voted against that motion. They said, no, we can't take Africa now. Let's take it gradually, slowly. So I blame those comrades back in the days, because
the ones at the north.
At the north, because many countries in the north of Africa,
they don't regard them as Africans.
You know that thing. But if they agreed, no, comrades, let's take up arms, let's go fight the oppressors in the south, in the middle and everything. We assist our brothers. We now go to a conference, we vote for one president, one currency, one Africa. It was going to be a good thing. But now the fight is still on, and we're saying we'll fight it, because we're part of the organizations which are assisting to fight that fight. But I still blame those comrades. If they say, no, let's go fight this thing, we take it now, they were going to be the ones who suffers, we become the ones who enjoy it. Pella, now we're still the ones who are suffering. Even the one our brothers from outside, they're the ones who are suffering. The future generation, we don't know if it will happen. And with our country, the ANC wanting the government of national unity, with political parties like the DA, VF Plus, those are the far right political party wings. They don't support those things. They will still say we close borders.